Hey, what's up guys? Lydia here with Build Yourself Inside. And I wanted to get out this message to you all because it's regarding resolutions and promises and change and all of these different things that we want to make in our lives, right? Like maybe some of us have thought about what kind of things that we want to pursue next year or we want to achieve. And I really want to address the motivation behind these things, right? Because a lot of us are unhappy where we are. So maybe we have an imbalance in our life. Maybe we're like kicking ass and taking names in our job and our finances, but our relationships at home are suffering. Or maybe we have a great relationship with somebody, but our fitness and our health is suffering. So usually what tends to happen is that most people will just take responsibility for one area of their life or maybe two, but most of the time people are just taking responsibility for just a portion of their life and not their whole life. And when this happens, what you're basically doing is leaving the rest of your life to chance, right? And when you really think about it, if you stop and think about like an area in your life that you've really been successful in, maybe your bank account is exactly where you want it to be, or it's heading in that direction, or you finally have met that dream guy or dream girl, or you got that amazing job, or you achieved that six-pack this year, whatever it is, I want you to think about what you had to go through to get to that. I want you to think about the emotional stress, the late nights, the planning, the people that you had to deal with. All of this stuff, right? But when you really put all that to the side and realize you got from A to B, what you tend to realize is that why in the world would you leave the other areas of your life to chance when you've had massive success in one area? And not only that, sit there and complain about why you aren't where you want to be. And sit there and wonder why you aren't where you want to be. Because most people don't make that correlation. They don't understand why a certain area of their life is failing, but they're doing so well in another area. And it's because you've taken responsibility for just that one area. You've taken control of just one or two areas of your life. Now imagine if you did that in every area of your life. You took control of your health and your fitness. You decided to educate yourself in relationships and finance and business, and maybe you're not really religious, but you've explored spirituality and really spent time grounding yourself and learning to stay in the present and not worry so much, right? The reason we worry and we have anxiety or depression or sadness is because we're either in the past or the future. So in order to take control of the situation that you're in now, which is just a life situation, you don't have a problem at this moment. Right? You may have a problem tomorrow or in 10 years, but that is not something that you want to think about right now. You want to focus on the current moment. Because the current moment is where the changes are made. Okay? Whatever you did in the past, you did in that current moment. It was current moment at that time. And it's going to be the same no matter what time it doesn't matter what time in your life it is, because time itself is just irrelevant and also illusory. And if you keep categorizing things that you want to do with when you're going to do them, it's never going to happen. You have to take immediate action. So start becoming more conscious of when you use words like, I'll do it tomorrow, or it can wait till next week, or well, it's not a big deal right now. Well, it's not a big deal right now, which means eventually it will be a big deal. If it's somewhat of a deal at the present moment and you don't do anything about it, it's only going to get worse, right? Maybe you're 20, 30, 40, 100, 200 pounds overweight. Maybe you haven't had a heart attack yet, but that doesn't mean that it might not eventually happen. Okay? You might not think nothing will happen between today and tomorrow. And that's the exact type of mindset that keeps you stuck where you are. That's the exact type of mindset that keeps you from making a move. Because you're going to have, if you have that thought pattern today, nothing's going to change tomorrow and nothing's going to change next week or in a year. When you come to the realization that the change needs to happen at this very moment, while you're listening to the words coming out of my mouth, or even right after, that is where the magic happens. Being a New Year's resolutioner myself, I finally got up the courage to walk into a gym by myself. I was scared to death of walking into a gym by myself because of judgment, of fear of what other people would think of me, not knowing what I was doing in a gym or being obese on one of the machines. I was worried about what people were going to think of me. And it's terrifying to think about where I would be now, or even if I would be right now, because I was so miserable where I was. I don't even know if I would still be around if I had stayed where I was. And a lot of us have been in this position, right? Where it's almost too painful to be alive. And when you've come to face something like that and you've persevered through it, every single time you do it, it gets easier and easier. And every single time you're putting just a little more fuel on the fire. And it just begins to shine brighter and brighter and brighter. And you really, truly begin to become grounded and learn about what is of real value in life. And understand the fact that true fulfillment and happiness cannot be found out there. It's impossible. You can go study books. You can go to lectures. You can go get a six-pack. You can go date as much as you want, or go get married, have kids, form a family, whatever it is you want to do. You can go pursue your dream job. You can have the most amazing achievement. But if you're not developing on the inside, if you're not changing on the inside, what you'll eventually come to learn is that none of that stuff has any meaning whatsoever. And this is largely the knife in the heart, or sort of a punch in the stomach sort of feeling that a lot of people tend to realize late, after they've achieved something so great, maybe that dream body, or they've started that business and they're making a ton of money, or they've now formed a family, but they still feel empty inside. The reason is because people who do this, you who do this, everyone does this. Everyone's out there trying to fill a void by just accumulating more things, or by finding the right people, or by going to get drugs or alcohol or attention or praise, approval. All of these things, they're just trying to fill a void in their lives, which only you can fill. Like I said, it is impossible. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter how great the success that you have. Nothing. If you don't already have that inner fulfillment, by the time you reach that achievement, nothing will change. Nothing will change. And you will not find true happiness until you start spending time with yourself. And you kind of back up and begin analyzing why you're doing what you're doing and your motivations behind your motivations. So I hope this brings a little bit to light for some of you guys, and I've shared similar videos to this topic, and this is kind of like one big nutshell as far as really what I'm going to dive in and talk about over the next year, and how you can fill those little tiny holes in your life and the voids, And become clear in your life purpose, even if you haven't found it yet, because everybody has a life purpose. Everybody has a passion. It's just the problem is right now it's a hobby for a lot of people. It's something that they say to themselves, well, if I could do this full time, I would have my dream job. And that's immediately dismissing the possibility for that to even happen when you say something like that. So you're subconsciously formatting your life into that impossibility. And especially the more you say that to yourself. And the more you keep bringing it back up, and you keep bringing it back up, and you keep bringing it back up, you keep bringing it back up, how impossible it is to do things. You keep yourself in this big circle. And it takes a higher level of awareness and consciousness to even realize that you're doing this. So stay tuned over the next year. Share these videos with your friends and your family, and comment and question below. I'm always happy to answer questions and take on new clients, especially if you're not fulfilled in your life and you're trying to fill this void. If you're scraping for things, if you're saying to yourself all the time, well, I'll be happy once I have this. It is impossible to ever find happiness. True happiness can be found now. You already have it. You already have what you need inside of you. It's just a matter of detecting it and pulling it out of you. And then the rest of your life falls into place. Quite literally. Things just come to you. So, like I said, stay tuned. I'm going to check out here and go enjoy my Christmas Eve. And I hope you all enjoy your Christmas Eve and start thinking about your resolutions now, because right now is when resolutions are made, and January 1st is when commitments start. Okay, so know the difference between commitments and resolutions, because resolutions are not what are going to get you to where you are. Commitment every single day is what is going to get you to where you are. Okay? All right, guys, have a great evening. Lydia out.